kind of have to roll with it, right?
You just got to roll with the punches.
Just got to
man,
roll
and
with
just
it.
Go on. Just pretend like nothing happened.
That is correct. That's correct. And so, real quick recap of last week's show. Man, I'll tell you what, having Anthony on from Emerson Bartlett Mortuary and the Teamster Advantage partner that they are, like we joked about last week, having them as your last Teamster Advantage partner on your way out the door. I guess it's a bit comforting, but it's also a bit sobering to recognize the fact that we're all going to end up there at some point. He was extremely funny, and I wish there was a way to clean up a lot of the jokes that he had before he got him on the air and after he came. Right. Well, he didn't actually, we didn't actually beep him. His jokes before and after were really, really great. So we got our Teamster Advantage partner rolling in late here. We're going to send him a warning notice for being late, but that's okay. Ryan, right?
Ryan, yes, sir.
Yeah, Ryan. Okay, I got a buddy of mine that goes by Ryan. He doesn't go by Ryan. He goes by Ryan. And so I normally give everybody a Teamster Advantage partner a rundown at the beginning of the show before we get on. I'll catch you at the back half, right around 20 minutes or so. So just ride side saddle, nice and calm as I get through the news and all the other stuff I do on the front half of the show. So thanks for being here. And we just we'll give a shout out to Peak Performance for showing up as a Teamster Advantage partner. We'll hear from him live here in a few minutes. With that, last week's show, the other thing I covered on the back half of the show was retiree medical and what retiree medical and a retiree medical component means to workers, and how we were able to establish it at San Bernardino County with the employees that we represent there, and got a lot of positive feedback from that show. Matter of fact, a lot of our members enjoying using the show as a way to educate others on how that process happened and what we did over a period of about 5 or 6 years to move in that direction. And so that was last week's show. Next part of the show, we'd like to do our regular shout outs. Before I do those shout outs specifically, I do want to give a shout out to Robert Gonzalez, who's our new communications coordinator at Teamsters Local 1932. Some people are clapping for him in here right now. And if you have any ideas or input or guests or just general things you want to send in, you can email him at radioshow@teamsters1932.org. So we have our own email address for us to be able to take that input, take that information in. Robert makes sure that he maintains that, and any ideas and information that comes in, he'll make sure we get it into the show. Shout-outs, live shout-outs for those of you that are listening live. We have stewards Lisa Gentry and Maria Crisellas at Fontana TAD. We also have Bernadette Beltran, project coordinator at Public Health, and Michael Reyes, a stat analyst, also at Public Health. And we also have Nanette Huerta, LVN at Public Health. We have some more. They're just coming in. I'm unable to get them right now, but shout out to all you guys and ladies listening in live. Next part of the show is our Teamster jobs and our Think a Teamster campaign. For those of you that don't know, you see our Teamster, Think a Teamster billboards and buses and everything out there that is recognizing how many different jobs Teamsters do within our local communities. It's kind of shocking and surprising sometimes. And this part of the show, always got to give a shout out to Carlos Gonzalez for teeing up these 3 jobs every single week, because I always get lots of comments from people going, I didn't know that. I didn't know that Teamsters did this or Teamsters did that. And so the 3 Teamster jobs, again, thanks, Carlos. We appreciate you doing it. I think Carlos really has a lot of fun digging these up and trying to be creative and give us something to talk about. With that, Jell-O pudding. So it's made by Teamsters. And so the next time you get some Jell-O pudding and you make some Jell-O pudding, or you get your kids some Jell-O pudding, or you remember the fact that you had Jell-O pudding, I won't mention the person who used to be the big spokesperson for Jell-O, because he got himself in a lot of trouble. But remember that Teamsters actually make and produce Jello pudding. So next time you have Jello pudding, think of Teamster. Make sure that you recognize that Teamsters make sure it's safe, it's healthy, and that you're going to have a great dessert. And remind your kids too. When your kids I want some pudding. And is there any other brand of pudding? I guess there's Buddig. When you think about it, I guess there is some other brands, but Jello's kind of cornered the market, I would assume, on it, and it's good to see that Teamsters make sure that is produced. Next time, all you Dodger fans, or maybe not Dodger fans, are at Dodger Stadium, the parking lot attendants are Teamsters. And so they're Teamsters with local 911. Remember that. Make sure you think of Teamster next time you're driving in instead of just driving right by them. And they're telling you which direction to go or pointing the direction for you to go in. Say, hey, thanks for being a Teamster. Appreciate the work that they do. They put themselves at risk every single night that there's a game. I don't know if anybody has been to a game lately, but people drive kind of crazy going in and out of the stadium. So think of Teamster next time you're at Dodger Stadium. And here's one that I haven't heard about in quite some time. It's the LA Food Bank. The LA Food Bank, they're Teamsters. They've been helping hungry families since the early 70s, and they've helped feed families. They obviously helped during the COVID pandemic as well as other times of crisis and earthquakes and fires. These proud workers that do this great work are members of Teamsters Local 848. Like I said before, Teamsters do every job between airline pilots to zookeepers, and it is a true statement. It is not an exaggeration. We actually represent every job classification in America, and we're very proud of it. So next time you see somebody that you know is a Teamster, thank them. Think of Teamster because we help make sure that the world goes round. All right, so the next part of the show is our news, our labor news. I happen to be particularly close to this last headline that's kind of ripped through all of labor, and many people may have seen it that maybe don't follow labor news, and that is the ALU, the Amazon Labor Union, has affiliated with Teamsters, and I happen to be one of the people that works on this. I'm the national director for the Teamsters when it comes to Amazon, and so for months we've been working on building this partnership, and understand that we had always worked with these workers all over the country, even if they were working or trying to identify as a different union or whatever they were doing in their particular facilities. But the reason why this is such large significance is that Amazon is trying to prey on the fact that ALU, which was a new startup union, was trying to prey on the fact that they didn't have a lot of resources. And, congratulations to Chris Smalls and that entire executive board for, figuring out that joining forces with us as a whole is going to be the best path forward to organize. And, as many of you know, we have been working with Amazon workers all over the country for the last few years, and our approach is very, very strategic and very wide in its approach. We're not just doing one facility at a time. We're trying to make sure that the workers, the community, and the industry comes together to hold Amazon accountable. If you look at the Inland Empire as an example, there are 40 Amazon locations that have been built in the Inland Empire. And while everybody may say, oh, I think it's great that, I push this little button on my phone and guess what? I have some magically appear at my doorstep in a few days or in the next day. Think about at what cost that comes. And most people don't realize that those Amazon delivery drivers actually don't. Amazon tries not to claim them. Now, we argue that they do work for Amazon because Amazon has so much control over that subcontractor that they really work for Amazon. Amazon has a business model that creates them as subcontractors, not independent contractors, subcontractors. So there's a subcontractor that has 50, 70, 100 drivers that works for them. And they say, this is ABC subcontractor. This isn't Amazon, even though they have an Amazon uniform. And they have Amazon, computer in their hand, and they have an Amazon truck, and they come out of an Amazon facility. I don't know how you get away with saying they're not our employees when you have all that. And they say, because of the subcontracting. Well, there's some rules in subcontracting. If you subcontract work out, but yet you have complete control over someone's operation, then you're not subcontracting. What you're doing is you're dumping your responsibility upon another small business. And Amazon It's obviously shown there's a lot of regulatory agencies that have started to drill down on them. There's a lot of people that recognize going to work for Amazon is not as warm and fuzzy as Amazon presents itself to be. And when there's tens of thousands of those jobs in a particular area and you have an extremely high turnover of the workforce, and you want a pat on the back for paying people, just a few years ago, they wanted a pat on the back for paying people $15 an hour. I made more than $15 an hour doing that exact same job in the 1980s. And they don't deserve a pat on the back. The reality is that Amazon is exploiting labor on a very, very large scale. And they pride themselves, there's a New York Times article out there where they pride themselves on high turnover. They don't want workers to work for them for a long period of time. And they have this business model of using subcontractors to then again have high turnover. And then their subcontractors have high turnover. So the subcontractors themselves are high turnover on top of it. So you have high turnover, high turnover, high turnover. This is the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, KCAA 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Anyway, point is that as big as Amazon is and as profitable as Amazon is, they think it's okay to pay these delivery drivers the absolute lowest amount of wages in the industry. And then their warehouse workers, on top of it, almost the lowest in the entire industry. And they think this is a successful business model. They come into a particular city or in a particular area, and one of the things that they do is they say, oh, we're going to bring 1,000 jobs or 3,000 jobs or 4,000 jobs. And everybody goes, oh, well, just roll out the red carpet for them. Then a few years later go by, and you see that the 3,000 jobs turned into 150% turnover in a 365-day period. And so you're churning through thousands of workers. This isn't the time in which you say, come to work for me. You can work here your entire career. You can retire from here. You can have great health care, and you can have good retirement vehicles, and you can raise your family. You cannot raise your family on wages in which Amazon presents, nor with the business model they have. So, back to the news, which was ALU. ALU, very, very new union, trying to start up and push back on this huge monster corporation, recognizes the fact that they've got to utilize the strength and the size of our organization institutionally, and it's a very, very, very smart partnership. All parties are very happy about it for the most part. Obviously, the workforce is very happy to see that the Teamsters on top of ALU and all of those workers at what they call JFK 8, which is a facility in Staten Island, New York, have all said ultimately the workers are going to have to vote on the affiliation. In most union environments like this, the workforce ultimately has to what we call ratify that agreement. And so the two executive boards have decided to have the affiliation happen. The members will vote on it in the next few weeks. They almost always pass it. Like it's very rare that you see an affiliation or a merger get rejected, because workers recognize that they're combining their resources to take on a corporate giant. And we're very proud of this moment in the Teamsters. I know that ALU's leadership, I've talked to all of them in the last few days. As I said earlier, I happen to be intimately involved in this at the level where I'm the director nationally. And so it's been a lot of work by a lot of people all over the country at pulling all those resources together and making sure everybody's on the same page. And it is a very significant victory. And I'm assuming Amazon is having to adjust their strategy and how they're going to be dealing with things, knowing that we're going to be approaching this collectively, and they're not going to be able to split the unions in their approach to making sure these workers have something good on the job. And so with that, my favorite part of the show always is introducing a Teamster Advantage partner. Even though he's a little tardy here, I got to give him a little bit of, I can't say the word I normally would say in this. Give him a little bit of guff. I can't say the S word, right? But Ryan, with Peak Performance, I know that I've heard a few of our members talk about what cool place that you got going on there. And let me just do a quick intro to Teamster Advantage and our program. We have more than 1,000 small businesses connected to our network throughout the Inland Empire, LA and Orange County, primarily in the IE. We're in 26 chambers of commerce, and one of the things that we do is we want to make sure that our members and the general public always shop locally and always do what they can to connect to a local business and support small business. Because while these huge corporations in the world come in and eat up everything, makes it very difficult for the working class, which is small business, to compete. And it's important for us to make sure that we use our tax dollars locally and make sure we support small business and entrepreneurs that are doing the best they can. Because quite frankly, they're in the very same group as every other working person in America, which we represent. So the more than 1,000 small businesses, we advertise for them for free. They participate in our Teamster Advantage app. We recognize them on a regular basis. And with that, Ryan, tell us about your business.
Yes, thank you all for having me. Apologies for the tardiness. I pride myself on being on time, generally speaking. Inland Peak Performance is a family-owned and operated sports performance facility located in San Bernardino, California. We opened up in May of last year, so we just hit our 1-year anniversary, which was a critical threshold for myself and my team. I've got 2 partners. I've got John Anthony and Brian Pope. We're just dads here from the Inland Empire who love sports. We decided to build a sports performance facility. It's 20,000 square feet. We've got 10 batting cages, got a full gym, 5,000 square feet of practice turf, all the training, your young athlete or yourself could ever use. And
I know I look like I need training. I got you.
No, we all do. We could all use a little extra. But
so what are the other things so you got batting cages, what else?
So beyond just the batting cages, we accommodate and we have a lot of travel ball teams that come in, but we've recently started partnering with local little leagues. Redlands Little League, or RBY, Colton, Grand Terrace, Newmark Central, all the local guys. Last year we had the opportunity to partner with the Western Regionals Little League, and we had Fate, Luck, and Chance brought us the El Segundo Little League World Champions, who used the facility during their time in San Bernardino. Talk to Coach Dan very often. That's been amazing. So really what we do is we provide an outlet and somewhere for our younger youth athletes to perfect their craft. And whether they're a basketball, baseball, football, it doesn't matter what sport it is. We have trainers.
Teach them how to dunk?
I don't personally teach them how to dunk, but we've got guys that can definitely
that can ball, huh?
Yeah,
All right.
that can help out. So yes.
All right. So baseball, basketball. What else?
Any sport, really, any sport. Nowadays, everything's about speed, agility, and power, and we've got the right guys in the right spots. You can see, on any given day, a guy that plays professional baseball and a guy that's a starting running back for an NFL team working out together, right, with one specific trainer. Shout out to the Lab 909 who brings those guys into us. And outside of that, we've got that and everybody in between.
I bet you the kids really like it, especially when you get a professional athlete in there and they can connect to that.
I think as a sports fan, we all like it.
Well, of course we do. But we do this all for the kids. We don't do it for ourselves.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to come in and see some of the guys. We worked real closely with DJ Peters, who's a local guy who won the World Series with the Dodgers a few years ago. Just seeing athletes of that caliber is just incredible to see it in person, and we feel very fortunate to be in the position that we're in.
That's good. Who? Give me some other names of some.
No showing up at the facility, guys. They're all gone right now. We've got Alex Madison.
Who you've had?
Yeah. We've got Alex Madison worked out there over the summer with Terrence from the Lab. We have one of our local favorites, a young guy, great kid. He'll not hear this because he's in Florida right now. His name's Anthony Huezo.
We'll send him the link. Say, hey, we talked about you.
We will. And just a great young man, a great family. I remember meeting him right when he first came in, and he got drafted out of high school, so he's in Florida right now playing rookie ball.
I bet you this really motivates the kids, right? Like the kids get in, because sometimes the kids, the monotony of going to practice and training and building up, seeing individuals like that's probably a pretty good motivating factor for them.
Oh, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And we continue to strengthen our relationships with local teams like the Inland Empire 66ers. Shout out to Chris Austin.
Yeah, those another one of our Teamster Advantage partners.
Yeah, they've been great, and they're providing resources, giving us outlets to provide community resources. So June 15th, we'll be having a free clinic at the 66er Stadium.
Oh, nice.
You're
doing the clinic at 66ers.
Correct. We are taking care of the training, and the 66ers are donating the field. So it's just a small collaboration where, kids who might not get to participate at a venue like that, we're going to do it. And again, no
And
charge.
when you're there, you will see our big billboard in the outfield.
There we go. There we go.
There's a trifecta there, right?
So
All right.
You got to triangulate.
Yeah, that's right. All right. So what's the discount that Teamster Advantage members get?
So we have a all-inclusive discount. Our standard rates are about $50 a month. We've dropped that down to $40 for all the Teamsters members.
Wow, that's 20%. That's big.
But the big advantage here is the access to all the recovery, right? So we do a $15 member recovery for red light therapy, Normatec compression, game ready cold compression. So if you suffer from, inflammation or just pain, swelling, generally speaking, compression therapy helps.
I
a
suffer
bit.
from inflammation of the belly.
There we go. It makes two of us,
Is
man.
that too much eating? Is that what that is? Well, and how do you like this partnership? I know it's a relatively new partnership because I think somebody from our staff went in with their kid and then made a connection. Mark came over, signed you guys up. I know I've heard about it from a few people since that, which is just a few months ago, right? So how much do we charge you for this program?
It's free. It's free.
Isn't it amazing? Everybody trips out. They're like, how like free? There's got to be a gimmick in it. There's got to be a catch.
You always think there is. I mean, especially in the first year, lots of people are coming to you asking, what you can do for them. And fortunately, we were in the position where you guys came to us and asked what we could do for us. And we are super appreciative about that.
Well, we really appreciate the partnership, and we really appreciate. We're going to go to break here in about 60 seconds. We really appreciate what you do for the kids and what you do for the community. Being a small business owner, it's tough, it's difficult, and you got to compete with the Dave and Buster's and all these big outlets and big chains of stuff. And we'd always encourage everybody to make sure you participate in something local. Any funny stories you want to tell before we close out?
I'm not sure they're funny, but
Are they clean enough to say on the live radio?
They're clean enough. Really just want to sum it up and thank everybody who supported us up to this point. There is new local competition that is corporately owned franchises,
Boo.
and they're in the parking lot. So,
The parking lot here, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw it.
So
I actually
we're-
thought about it today when I drove by. I went, man, we're going to have Peak Performance on.
Yeah. No, I mean, we, at the end of the day, we're doing our best. We are bringing you an elite product with elite training. We're not doing this through a franchise. We're doing this with hard-earned, bootstrap dollars. So all the support is very much appreciated, and we will continue to do our best.
Well, we're here for you. Thanks for joining us, Ryan. And Peak Performance, make sure that you engage. And obviously, you see the very big discount if you're a Teamster or you're part of the Teamster Advantage Network. This is Randy Corgan with the Worker Power Hour. Going to break. See you on the other side.
One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping locally. Teamster Advantage is a shop local program started by Teamster Local 1932 that has brought together hundreds of locally owned businesses to provide discounts for residents who make shopping locally their priority. Everything from restaurants like Corky's to fun times at SB Raceway and much, much more. If you're not currently a Teamster and you want access to these local business discounts, contact Jennifer at 909-889-8377, extension 224. Give her a call. That number again is 909-889-8377, extension 224. Located in the heart of San Bernardino, California, the Teamsters Local 1932 Training Center is designed to train workers for high-demand, good-paying jobs in various industries throughout the Inland Empire. If you want a pathway to a high-paying job and the respect that comes with a union contract, visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org. Are you graduating high school soon and wondering what to do next? College is one option, but why not consider the high-paying jobs made possible by Union Power? Labor Union Teamsters Local 1932 has opened a training center to get you into the high school to high-paying job pipeline. You'll learn all the skills needed to excel in opportunities across industries. Visit 1932trainingscenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingscenter.org.
Here we're back, Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, live radio. So what we're gonna have to do is you have to get a little closer. Yep, just pull a little closer. That's what I love about being a rookie here is you get to hear the bumps and the bruises of hitting the mics and all that good stuff. I'm not great at this yet, but I'm working at it. I'm gonna claim my rookie status for probably like 3 or 4 years.
You're doing great.
So I'm joined today by Mayor Guillermo Silva and also Councilwoman Leslie Altamario.
Altamirano.
Okay, I'm not going to try to do that again. It's a white guy over here trying to pronounce something I'm not great at.
At least you're trying.
I definitely take a shot at it.
I know her well, and I still mess it up.
Okay, well,
On
see.
purpose.
Okay, so it's not just me.
No.
Okay, and so you two are obviously on the council for Jurupa Valley.
Yes.
Which is, I think it's the newest city in the IE, right?
It's the newest city.
It held the title for the
It
newest
held
city.
the
Now there's
title
a newer
for a
one.
long time, the newest city in California. There recently is a new city within the last the last 2
Within
months.
the last year, I think,
Is it?
6 months, yeah, something like
Well,
that.
we're not going to count them.
Yeah.
We are the newest city in the Inland Empire.
There we go. We're
There
the
you go.
newest city in the Inland Empire.
Right, and we're about to be 12 years old on July 1st.
Well, good. You know, it's crazy that time has flown by that fast.
Right.
So, we appreciate you coming on the show, and we really appreciate the relationship that we have here. And, I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of questions, but why don't you just do us a favor and introduce yourself first. We'll start ladies first.
Well, my name's Leslie Altamirano. I'm a District 4 representative for the city of Jurupa Valley, the only councilwoman on the dais right now, unfortunately. And this is my colleague.
Hello, I'm the Guillermo Silva. They call me Willie. I'm the mayor of Jurupa Valley, and I'm from District 2.
District 2? Okay.
Yeah.
So, what got you into politics?
I think for me, I've always been someone to be getting involved and wanting to make changes since I was really little. But into my city politics, it was just being a Karen, just going on Facebook and like complaining about stuff. And then someone said, well, open elections, why don't you take a shot? No, I like to be on this side of the table
Right.
where I'm knocking and asking you to fix it.
Right.
We're like, well, I'm like, I don't feel like I don't have the degrees, maybe I don't have the experience. They're like, well, city council should be residents. It should be people that live here, that are from here, that want to improve the area. It's nobody that goes and gets a title to be a council member, right? So I'm like, you know what? Let me look into it. I'm going to do my homework. And then I just put my name on the ballot. And during 2020 COVID, we didn't have to do many public speaking. We just dropped the ballot, our paperwork outside, knocked, and took off. We didn't have to do anything. So we got on the ballot, and I won, and it was his election too. But let you share your story.
Yeah,
Really,
so-
tell us. Yeah.
I work in the community. My dad has a tire shop there for many years, and it's kind of like the barber shop there. People come, tell you all their drama, their issues, and so you all day long just listening to complaints. And I'm like, well, there's nothing I can do about it because I'm just a regular worker there, right? And then one day I get asked I should be part of the planning commission. Why don't I give it a shot? So I said, oh, what's going to hurt? In Spanish, there's a saying, se prende o se seca, which means you're going to plant something. It's either, you're going to water it, it's either going to grow or die. So I said, well, let's go put my name in the hat.
Let's make it grow.
So I went in there and I got the position. And then after that, people said I should run for council. And again, I'm like, well, I mean, all right, if you guys feel I need to, it doesn't hurt to put your name in the hat. And then I won that one. So I was like, well, here I am. So that's how I got into it. And just knowing that a lot of community members just always reaching out to me, telling me stuff. And now I'm able to make a difference when it comes to that. So I constantly hear issues and I try to address them. And there's some that you can't fix, but I mean, at least you can point them in the right direction and say, hey, figure it out now. I gave you a big push.
I think that was most of it, right? Trying to make sure that we are the people that people can reach out to and find someone to be able to get you the answers, because I've always been the person that I'll find an answer. I'll find a way. I'll get you the answer. Even if I don't have it, come with me. I'll show you the way. So even just having someone in the community that you can ask or come and that's going to respond to what's happening in the area, even if it's not the answer you want to hear, but at least you know why it's happening.
Yeah, an answer is sometimes better than, getting an answer, even if it's not what you want to hear.
Right,
is better
right.
than anything. Hey, Rick, do you mind if you turn those mics down just a tad? I got to get those tuned down a little bit. It's this.
Hello.
Yeah, there you go. All right, just a little bit. Thanks. So I got a couple questions for you. Like, how do you view your role as helping to enhance workers' lives?
Yeah.
So our role in enhancing
Should always
workers'
be
life?
ladies first.
Well, that's
though.
what I thought. I was like, you, and she's
With our
like,
mayor.
But she can defer.
She always likes to throw it over,
She has
right?
the right to defer.
so repeat the
And
question,
then-
because
and
I'm
then
one of
I'll
those
take it
that
back.
I lose track. What was the question again?
How are we making lives better for the workers?
Okay, so
workers, yeah.
we've been listening to our community, and we, every city has the concept of they want to do live, work, play. So we're pushing live, work, play, and we're actually, I guess, practicing what we preach, because we're getting the development down. So there's homes coming in. With those homes come, the rooftops, come amenities that people need. So now you have shopping, you have all those things. So now people want to play. They have shopping centers, things to do. And then the work. So the work part now, we've been pushing for manufacturing to bring, quality paying jobs to our cities. So I think through there is where the workforce is now. We're pushing for them to have that. And then pushing for whatever development possible to try to get well-educated, like union-type workers to do the job. Now, you can't control all of them, but if you can push for it and say, hey, that's an incentive, get it over here, well, why not?
There's another one that we're working on is getting an Inland Empire Trade Tech in our city to be able to train the workforce, and that it's a partnership with RCC. It's kind of like the LA Trade Tech. I know that's the only one in California, so we would have the second one, and it's in the works right now, and that is a partnership with our unions. So being able to have a whole skilled labor workforce, kids from our city that don't want to necessarily go to a four-year college can go and take these classes, paid for that, same as community college. You're not taking out these loans, and then get you ready out into the workforce with union jobs, right? But at the same time, where are they going to work?
That's right. One of the things we're doing with our training center at the local is walking down this road, because in the Inland Empire, 82% of kids that go to high school, graduate from high school, don't go to college.
Right.
And so they need to find a good paying job. And what the Inland Empire has done in the last 30 years is actually, as kids graduate from high school, they've landed in a lot of these logistics jobs or operations that they then get hurt in because they bounced around temporary workforce or contingent workforce of some sort, and their career in that space has ended. And in their early 20s, sometimes they're not even 20 yet. And so, unfortunately, a lot of the youth doesn't recognize right out the gate that there are good jobs, and they need to seek those.
Right.
And what the IE Trade Tech will do is help connect workers directly to those jobs. That is clearly, we're in partnership with them with our Teamster 1932 Training Center. But it's good to hear council members and mayors have this conversation and build that relationship early on, because you said something earlier: quality, good paying jobs.
Right.
And usually there has to be an equal sign next to it, which is a union job. And so I'm assuming you guys are supportive of community benefit agreements?
We have actually been behind very large projects that have been approved in our city that have made sure that we have community benefits agreements, and some of them including labor jobs. So the construction of those big projects that are coming in, that are pending, even proposed, include hiring union workers to build these structures, these projects. So these developers that are coming into our city already know the blueprint that we're asking for. They already know what would help get their project approved. So this is what they always come and present. So right now we already have one large project that was approved that is going to be built out with union workforce, and another one that is being proposed is actually coming on Wednesday to our planning commission in front of them, and they're going to be able to tell them everything that they were offering to the city with the community benefits that include that. But that is something that we have been a trailblazer, I want to say, for the Inland Empire, for a lot of it, especially if you look at the Agua Mansa developmental agreement. There is a lot of stuff that we have been asking from development to basically promote our city, to basically help our city. So
So there's another layer here where it's not just on the construction side.
Right.
It should also extend to where the jobs that land there as well. And I found that in all my years of doing this, the more I press council members or mayors or local elected officials on community benefit agreements, that they really start to balk at holding these developers and future employers accountable at the city level. In other words, that stuff can happen inside of the community benefit agreements, and it's important to protect workers. It's interesting because city councils will decide. Obviously, if, let's say a proposed project comes in, goes to the planning commission, and goes through its appropriate steps. What usually happens is not a lot of people show up to that, and then not a lot of people show up to the council meeting to approve it, and you get things approved where there's subsidies or tax credits or infrastructure breaks that end up going back to the developer or going back to others as a result of it. And then you look at what's left, what the residual is that's left over. And then when the jobs are, 5 years down the road, you got to ask yourself a question as to, well, what kind of job did I ultimately approve that's going to be hanging around 10, 15, 20 years? One, two, where's the accountability factor? We believe that community benefit agreements need to start going as deep as creating accountability factors at the city level. Let me give you an example. Let's say a big corporation like Amazon that's been, not giving people their breaks and, can be fined millions of dollars because thousands of people didn't get their breaks. It's just use a hypothetical.
Right.
Could be real, but using a hypothetical. And somebody files a claim, they have to go to the state or federal agencies to start the process. Let's say it's on the safety side, it's OSHA, federal agency, right? Yes, you got some state parts of that, and then on the state side, you have wages and means enforcement when it comes to their hours and wages, right? And so then somebody's got to go through this long investigation and all this process. So a city government approves a project to come in, then approves it to have a certain amount of jobs, but then runs away from the responsibility to hold them accountable. What we envision in the future is that the city government itself has the ability to actually hold accountable those employers. You have that ability at the city level. So in other words, if the community benefit agreement demanded by the people of the city, and obviously its local government upholds it, and then puts it in place and then becomes part of policy, then the developer comes in, agrees to those provisions and criteria, and then when there's a violation, let's say someone's not paid properly, or there's a safety issue, or there's a non-compliance with this. It's the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, KCAA 106.5 FM 1050 AM. Thanks for holding that up, Mark. He's always flagging me because it's live radio. Anyway, the point to it is then when there's a violation or safety, now you got to go to a federal agency or a state agency, and then the city, everybody walks away. As an organizer who's been living in workers' living rooms for more than 30 years, it's very frustrating to see how the approval process happens with little vetting, and then when years go by, the city officials start to say, well, there's nothing we can do about it. That's OSHA, or that's the Department of Labor, or that's the this, or that's the that. We can actually put policy at the city level. Some will say, oh, well, who's going to pay for it? Make the employers pay for it. Have it as part of the community benefit agreement that they have to fund it and make sure that they're policing themselves to make sure that they're not hurting the residents. The reason I bring this up is it now becomes holistic for the community. In other words, those that live in the community are deciding who lead their community. Then those that lead their community that have been elected to those positions then approve these projects and then make sure that holistically giving them back that protection, that those jobs are going to be enforced at the city level on top of it. What do you guys think of an idea like that?
I think that's a really interesting idea. I think it starts off also, like you said, in the city level, and one of our first lines of defense is our planning commission staff. And like you were saying, it's not our staff, the appointed planning commission. And I know that you already are familiar with his appointee is one of your Teamsters.
Right,
So
yeah.
having the right people.
Laura, right.
Laura Schultz. She's amazing at what she does, and always, making sure that she's out letting us know about what's going on with the Teamsters, and whenever there's any strike lines and all that. So we've been out there front lines. But anyway, making sure you have the right people in the
Also
planning
holding the
commission.
development accountable and asking the appropriate questions and looking through all
Right.
that, right?
So
Well, I think
having-
that's one of those things. Sorry, I think that's one of those things that we're new to the game, but we're also very actively trying to find out how can we protect our residents, like you're saying, with those type of agreements, or how constantly learning. So we're not shutting the door. We're saying teach us more so we can be able to implement more. And one of the strategic things that we all did is with our planning commission, we put our first line of defense is our planning commission, and we have to me an all-star team on there, especially with my pick, which is Laura Schultz. So I should have said it first. and so and then we have Penny Newman when it comes on to the
Oh yeah, I know
environmental
Penny
side.
very well. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a great person.
So we have this.
Con Jackson, he's awesome too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we have this all-star team in the beginning that kind of vet a lot. Then we have a staff that is actively listening to what the direction we're telling them. So a developer will come in, they'll say, "Hey, that's not going to fly," and they're like, "Well, we still want to present it." They're like, "Well, good luck. It's not going to fly. You understand?
you're
there's
gonna
two
run into a buzzsaw,
There's two
right?
lines of defense that you have to go through, and so it ends up working really well when we're all pushing towards the right thing. The majority of us are pushing towards all these issues that are coming up, like you're stating, and as we learn more things. Like every day I hear new things, like the developer, the workforce agreements and all. You're hearing these, and I'm like, okay, now I got to learn more on that, and now I got to learn more on that. And education is key, like we're telling everybody. We want to educate our community, and we can implement more. And I think first line of defense, we have an all-star team, and then it has us to try to finish it off. And we've had long nights at our city council with the unions there, and
Shout out to Mad Dog.
I
He's
fi-
amazing.
Mad Dog. And I find it very odd that other cities say, "Hey, how do you have all them in there, but they're not yelling at you guys? They're actually telling you guys thank you." And it's like, well, because we're listening and we're figuring out how we can all coexist. How can we make it work? 'Cause
Find a balance.
find a balance and get them to get on board by telling us, what do we need? We don't know everything, so what do we need?
And I appreciate the honesty in saying we don't know everything, because I know the assumption is the minute you win a
Yeah.
council
We're
member's
residents.
position,
Yeah.
it's like you sit in the seat, you push a button, and all gets downloaded into your head,
They
which
try.
isn't the case, right?
They
Like
try.
we've all been there into a position where all of a sudden you're like, okay, I got to figure this
And
out.
I get
right?
distracted easy, so I'm like,
No, you come in there with your ideas and your views and how you want to help and protect the residents, but then you start seeing things from different sides and different angles that you didn't even know existed. So now you have to really try to see what is the balance and how can we benefit everyone, and try to just come out with the right. Not everyone's going to be happy, and we have to understand that, and we have to come to terms with that, but try to see what we can do for everyone, right?
Along one of the longstanding elected officials in the area, I had a conversation with him a few years back, and in my conversation, I took a funny jab at him, and he said, Randy, in his response to that funny jab, he said, Randy, the longer you do this job, the more you realize there's more to do and more to help others.
Right.
And that you come in with a lot of these ideas,
Yeah.
and then you run into one of the things I think me and Don Rao were talking about, or was it Denise Davis? I forget which one. We were having this conversation where people complain about the complexities of getting approval at City Hall, right? You
Right.
guys are technically City Hall. Well, a lot of these regulations and policies were put in place to create a protection
Right.
because the people demanded some policy.
Right.
Saying, we need this. And then they want this another policy to protect this and to protect
Right.
that, trying to prevent somebody from making bad mistakes. So then what happens is all those policies start to get layered on top of each other, and that's why they call it a bureaucracy.
Right.
Is then you win a council seat, and you got to sort all those things out. You got to
Find a
you
happy
want to do
medium.
things,
Yeah.
and you want to make sure that it's done right, but you also got to make sure that you're not breaking a rule, because you have the best of intentions, but there's some policy here that prevents a part of it from being done. That is probably the most difficult part of kind of what we all do in
Right.
elected positions.
It's kind of like being a parent to 10 kids, and you're taking them out to the store and you have $10 and
10,
you're trying-
20,000, how's that?
You know,
Yeah.
we have $7 and we're trying to make sure everybody's happy and leaves happy and gets what they needed, right? Not what they all want.
Top ramen for everybody.
Yeah, everybody gets the same. Well, and who's contributing more than the others, and trying to see how we can try to help them out. And some might have came with vouchers, and the other ones didn't. So we just got to try to find a happy medium and try to help the ones that need the help. But these are issues with every single thing that comes in. When we have the food vendors, when we have the logistics, the distribution centers, the manufacturing, so we were a county for a long time. We
Yep.
became a city. So there was a lot of different rezoning that we had to do, from changing from industrial to manufacturing to light industrial, which is manufacturing jobs. Well, our goal has been to try to bring in jobs that will not be automated.
So
Easily automated, which
Correct.
Usually that happens a lot with the logistics distribution, and that's happening really fast with them. So our goal has been to try to find jobs that we can keep people there, right? So a lot of the rezoning, there's been a lot of work behind the scenes to try to make sure first we're bringing those manufacturing instead of the distribution centers. I'm not taking jobs on any other one else.
Actually, I want to address that. I actually get frustrated when people say we don't want distribution centers. It should be okay to have them.
We
the,
do
the
have 'em.
problem is this, is those that are operating them aren't paying good enough, and they have terrible working conditions.
Right.
Again, the community benefit agreements need to be put in place that create parameters, the big bad word, regulation,
Right.
to prevent those workers from being exploited. I'm sorry, but 35 years ago, when I was first, bumbling around the logistics industry as a lumper, and just doing the work of throwing boxes around, paid me more than they were paying in this industry just a few years ago.
Right.
Because it was a good working class, middle class job. And unfortunately, the industry pushed those wages down over 30 years, created the contingent workforce, temporary agencies, and they ended up pushing those wages and working conditions into the ground, and now it's deemed as a bad industry.
And you see-
When we've represented this industry for over 100 years, and we have lots of people that work in this industry, make a great living, make good. Look, UPS workers is an example.
Yeah.
You work at Stater Brothers Warehouse, a number of these operations
FedEx.
out there that have been FedEx, not as much because they're not union represented, but the point is there these can be good jobs. There was a day when they were all good jobs.
Right.
And corporate America couldn't help itself. And I think that the gatekeeper could have been the cities. And now, whether it's distribution or warehousing or whatever it be, because there still are a lot of good paying jobs in this industry
I'm sure
that
there
are
is.
unionized.
I'm sure there is. And the issue is that we, as a new city, all of the ones that have been built out, we can't do that anymore. So the ones that are coming in, we want to make sure that we keep people there. And again, because of the automation that's coming really fast, those distribution jobs are going to be replaced. So our next bet now to that we're focusing on is manufacturing, because we want to keep people there. We want to keep a workforce. And going back to the Inland Empire Trade Tech.
Yeah,
to
you
be
want
able
people to be
train
able
them.
to
live, work, play.
work, and play there, right?
And
All in
We
the
gotta
same
add
community.
educate in there. Live,
And-
work, educate, play.
Yeah,
because
that's right.
Trade tech.
So I know I got 4 minutes left, and I just want to. You guys just approved the Harupa Valley Shopping Center or something like that, right?
There was a recent one.
Shops at
the
Harupa
shops at
Valley.
Harupa.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Shops at Harupa.
That one's
Okay.
major.
So I got a question for you. Was there a tax incentive for the developer? In other words, is there a sales tax kickback?
Not a sales tax incentive, no.
Is there any?
No, there's actually a target going to coming in. That's going to be.
Are they going to
to?
get it?
No.
Nobody's getting any sales
Not
tax
No,
kick.
sales tax kickback. No, I think it was talked about, but I think the only issue we had with that one was we shared a section of
Off-site improvements.
offsite improvements to be able to.
They should pay for
make it
all
work.
of that. Look,
Yeah,
I don't mean to argue with
no,
you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
I just the reason I bring it up is I can go around this Inland Empire and I can go to shopping center after shopping center after shopping center, that millions of dollars are being redirected out of the local economy, given to these huge corporations and these developers that the so-called discretionary tax revenue gets kicked back to a developer or a huge corporation for them agreeing to build there. In the IE, they got to build there.
Yeah.
There's people here. They're going to
Not
build
here.
there.
It's not
So the
happening.
reason I bring it up is it's just an awareness subject,
Yeah, yeah.
not for you here,
yeah.
No.
but it's for all of our listeners to pay attention, because even here in Redlands and all over the place, when you see millions of dollars being pulled out of the local economy and bad jobs left behind, it gets a bit frustrating. So I got 2 minutes, right? I got 3? 2.5 minutes. So I want to thank you guys for coming on. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you sharing your story and talking about how you're willing to do some crazy policy like we're talking about right now. It's exciting to hear the work that you're doing with the Labor Council and with the IE Trade Tech. Obviously, we're connected to a lot of that stuff
right.
as well. And it's good to see that you're very pro-union. You're not anti-union at all. And it's important that workers know that being union is a pathway for stability for them in the future. So any last very brief words, because I probably only have about 90 seconds.
No, I don't even know anymore. You kind of covered everything. We went over manufacturing. Yes, I know logistics is not a bad word, but we prefer manufacturing jobs.
Understood. Yeah, manufacturing.
Most of the cities that are coming, anything that comes to Hoopa Valley right now, we are actually having an influx of development coming in because of the housing. We're trying to build affordable housing.
Leslie, you like to talk. Huh?
I love to talk. I could be here all
gotcha.
day. So I could, we could do this.
Remember brief, Willie.
Just thank you very much for inviting me, and look forward to working with you guys more and getting more educated on all the subjects that we need to get involved in.
Great.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Well, thank you guys for coming on. Really appreciate it. And this is where I wind down the hour. We're building worker power in the Inland Empire. And what does that mean? You can see it everywhere. You can see workers all over the country coming together, and you see our billboards and our buses, worker power, thinking of Teamster. What can you do to build worker power? Talk with the family. Talk with your friend. Talk with your neighbor. Longtime organizer, first-time radio host, Randy Corrigan. Worker Power Hour, signing off.